Welcome back to the South Main Auto Channel. That's our 2005 Nissan Frontier pickup. I don't know what big engine it has in it, but rest assured it's big. This thing has had the parts cannon unloaded on it. Multiple transmissions, accelerator pedal, throttle body. It's been to the Nissan dealer, evidently to be programmed and such. And that's about all I know. I took it for a shake. The transmission acts really funky and it won't shift. If it does shift from first to second, it slams into gear, and then once you get up to about 50, it seems to kind of not know what gear it needs to go in. It kind of flares up, so on and so forth. When I was coming back into town, I just went around the block. I manually downshifted it. You could feel it manually downshifted each gear. So that's all I know right now. The engine light is not on, but apparently it has a code stored in it, or maybe perhaps in the transmission module, something like that, indicating some kind of throttle position input problem is what the fella told me. So we're gonna have a look at it, see if perhaps we can take a crack at it. Maybe we can fix it, maybe we can't, but we're gonna find out. Fine, it is done scanning. Looks like we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, at least 8 modules that are talking. Currently one that has a code. We are going to go to report here. We'll skip that and we will see we have a code P1705 throttle position sensor as current. So this is what must be what he is talking about. And that is in the transmission control module, or whatever the acronym for, whatever the wordage is for TSMS. We'll call it the transmission system monitor system. So we're going to go in here, look at some data. Of course, we're going to have to look up that code set criteria to see what what it takes to set this code. We'll look at all signals. I am not fluent on Nissan, and I really dislike their service data. But we're going to struggle through this, folks. Do we have throttle position input here? Closed throttle, without throttle, so it sees closed throttle. Accessory signal. I'm going to poke through here, see what I find, and I'm also going to see what our code set criteria is, and then we're going to kind of take it from there. So here's the data PIDs I found. We're going to step on the throttle, see if anything changes. Okay, must be the indicator is in volts, because it does show throttle position. When I just touch it, it changes the status of closed throttle from off to on. When I go to wide open throttle, it's 4.36, and I assume that means volts, even though the unit over here says /8, whatever. I don't know what that means. Perhaps the this is aftermarket scan tool, so maybe these PIDs are mixed up. I wouldn't get too awful concerned about that. But anyways, there's the little bit that we know. I'm going to get this code again. We're going to look it up. I got to tell you, folks, Nissan service data, I hate it. But what I've discovered through the little bit of mumbo jumbo I can decipher is the accelerator pedal position is what the transmission's having the issue with, not throttle position, accelerator pedal. Evidently the ECM takes the accelerator pedal position and transmits it to the TCM, transmission control module, via the data bus network. And we can see, as you can already see, I already blipped it here, but the accelerator pedal position works, which I think should be obvious because we can rev up the vehicle. So that's pegged at wide open throttle, and it uses 2 sensors for some redundancy built into the system. I mean, it doesn't run away on you, but we can see that it works. Now you might comment, well, the throttle's not opening. Well, that's because the engine's not running. If we start it, then it will sit there and open and close the throttle. But this appears to work. And remember, we were just looking at this a moment ago in the TCM. So we're going to pop back in there. We'll get in there, get my meat nuggets to work. We'll look at that, and I believe it was the accelerator pedal position that it did not see, which is kind of odd that's the case, because clearly, the network seems to work. It seems to be intact. Because I would think if it wasn't, we wouldn't communicate with it. And I'm not super familiar how they have their network set up, but I think it's something we're going to have to look at. How does the engine talk to, you know, this transmission. Hopefully it's accelerator position right there. And then we'll do throttle position. Okay. Yeah, so the throttle position works. So it's obviously transmitting its data to it, because this is the throttle position is being transmitted, I assume, down the same data lines as the accelerator pedal position. Interesting. So that's it, folks. I give up. I don't know what the answer is, to be honest with you. I've got no idea. I'm not going to call it quits. I mean, I think the guy said he put like 3 or 4 transmissions in this thing trying to solve this problem. A whole bunch of parts over here. We got gas pedal, we got Nissan parts, we got throttle bodies, we got the thing from the dealer. I don't know, but we'll figure it out, maybe. I think we're on to something, folks. So when I think about the theory and operation of how this works, you know, it seems to me this has to be some kind of logical error with the TCM seeing everything except for throttle inputs, or not this throttle, but the gas pedal throttle. I went into the ECU part number for the transmission and looked it up on Nissan to verify that, you know, that's the correct computer part number. And to the best of my ability, I can say, yes, that is the correct part number with no software revisions. So that's good. So I pondered that for a little bit and decided the other player in the situation is the ECM. Now the customer told me that was not changed, that they had screwed a bunch of trainees in it. However, they bought this truck used and never drove it. They bought it with this problem. So here's what I'm thinking. Here's how I think this unfolded if I was an investigator. Previous experience tells me that the transmission cooler in these Nissans goes bad. It fills the transmission full of coolant. At that point, the transmission pukes. Usually the transmission control module shorts out and blows a fuse. And when it blows the fuse, you get a no communication with the ECM over there. So then I think at that point, the original owner of this vehicle was driving along, kaboom, transmission went, nothing works, it won't crank, it won't do anything. He tows it to local Joe Schmo's shop. Joe Schmo plugs into it with his big fancy scan tool and says, hey, we got a failure to communicate. And at that point, when you have that, you throw an ECM in it. And you get the ECM from the wrecking yard because you're afraid to pull the trigger because you don't know how to check for no communication otherwise. I look back there behind the computer with my big long mirror. What do we see? Well, we see yellow junkyard rating all over it, just as I suspected. So I pulled the ECU part number out of it. Well, that's the part number I got. I ran the VIN number. I compared it to what Nissan says it should have. It says we should have a 23710 Echo Alpha 25 Bravo. We got a 23710 Echo Alpha 68 Alpha. Aha! The original part number on this was an Echo Alpha 25 Alpha, so it just changed from an A to a B as it got superseded. So that's that, folks. I think that's what our issue is, because I don't think it could be anything else. I'm not fluent in Nissan. I don't speak Nissan-ish. I need to contact somebody that is smarter than me. Smarter than me in the sense that perhaps I can get some help programming this. Now, I don't know if these numbers are the software revision numbers or the actual physical hardware part number, which I believe it is, because when I look it up on Nissan OEM parts, this is the number I come up with. I don't know what that part number fits, the one that's in it. Clearly not this. They were obviously able to put it in and program security enough to make it run. I'm curious to know if this VIN number matches. 3945, let's have a look-see. 3945, so the VIN number matches, so obviously it has the correct VIN in it, and it has the correct, you know, mumbo jumbo to make the key work. Perhaps that's easy to put a used ECM in one of these. Don't work on enough to be able to to answer that question for you. So I'm going to call my buddy Keith at L1 Auto Diagnostics, see if this is something he can help me with, if he can help me, program it remotely, or what we have to do there, or if we just have to get a different used one and take it from there. But this is the avenue in which I've chosen to go down at this point. All right, windows up. We're back on the Nissan, folks. I had to do a little research. I'm inside the car because it's kind of noisy out in the shop today. But what happened is, last time we left off on this Nissan, we had discovered that the transmission software and hardware appears to be correct. The engine computer, however, though, somebody has replaced it at some point with the wrong ECM. Now, on these vehicles, this is an 05 Frontier, you cannot just reflash the little box with new software. I got a hold of my friend Keith or L1 Auto Diagnostics to ask him if that was possible. He was pretty sure it was, but after a little more research, seen that it wasn't possible on these boxes. When we order these without, some major, EPROM type, mumbo jumbo. So I just clarify that. When you buy these boxes from Nissan, they're about 700 and some change, and they come pre-programmed. You enter the VIN and do the security for the keys, and you're good to go. So what I elected to do at that point is to get a used box. I found one there in someplace in Mayville, New York, I think it was. They sent us a box. I got the VIN out of the vehicle this came out of prior to ordering it, because there was quite a few options. I think 11 different options on ECMs. So I got the VIN number, ran that VIN, made sure it matched our software and hardware that belongs on this vehicle. So it was, four-wheel drive, automatic, with cruise, without active brake management. There's quite a few options, but this one should be it. Software number should be the same. I'm going to take and get it installed. We're going to write the VIN number to it, go through the process of hopefully relearning the keys, get that done, and then see if it fixed our original problem of the transmission not receiving the APP signal. And just like that, my hair got a little grayer, my beard got a little longer. Plug that computer in, beep, boop, beep, boop, boop, pushed a few buttons, and it runs. Not really. No, it doesn't. Why? Because my life doesn't work like that. What happened is, we had the new one from the salvage yard, as I just told you seconds ago in the last clip when my beard was short and my hair was blacker, and confirmed the software, confirmed that when we plugged it in, the APP worked. We're good to go. We just have to reprogram the NATs. That's your Nissan anti-theft. You put it in, you use the Altel IM508, it extracts the PIN number from the BCM, bada bing, bada boom. We're done. Should be simple as that. I kept coming up with errors. It wouldn't pull the PIN number. Couldn't do the programming. I'm getting a little upset. Like, why isn't this working? Pulled out the phone a friend option. Called my boy Keith. Said, what's up with this? He said, well, like it states in service data, sometimes we got to get the number off the BCM to get the PIN number. Not a problem. Download the app. Get the numbers off the BCM. The numbers aren't right. The only numbers on it are the part numbers. Anyhow, long story short, decided, well, sometimes it's actually on the encoder ring. So looked at the encoder ring up on the column, looked up under there to see if it was in there to, because it's got a chip key in it. Not really. Looked up there and seen there is no encoder ring on the column. Put the key in a key reader. The key has no chip. AKA, this truck has no security. Service info didn't give me that option. Didn't think it was an option. Vehicle runs now. If you want to know how, you're going to have to watch this video that pops up on one of these corners. I'm going to link you to L1 Auto Diagnostics YouTube channel, where I sent the PCMs, both of them, to Keith. He did an EPROM swap for me. So what we did is we took what he did rather, all I did is put them in a box, stick them in the mail with a few $100, and away they went. Took the ECM that worked with the wrong part number in it, sent that to him, and then sent him the one with the right part number that didn't work, so he could take the security chip or the EPROM, whatever mumbo jumbo stuff they put on that. He desoldered this one, unsoldered this one, did a swap-a-roo, silicone around the box, smushed her together, shipped her back in the mail. I popped it in because this was sitting out back in a snowbank, fired it up and drove it in. Transmission works great. Everything works great. And that's that. I'm ready to go home. However, I think we need a little trip around town. I have no idea how this video is going to work out. because I was on and off this thing several times. I usually watch whatever last footage I did so I know where I left off, but in this case I said it's been a while. Actually, folks, I started this back in the year 2020, and it is now 2021, so what's that tell you? But she runs, drives, shifts nicely. What a relief. What a frustrating hoo-ha, too. Nice little trip around. All this because of a couple mixed up ones and zeros, I think. Don't you just long for the day of carburetors and when men were men and women had hairy legs? Well, maybe not carburetors, but anyhow, what I do long for is I long for you to head on down to that comment box, leave a question, comment, criticism, concern while you're down there, subscribe, ring that bell, make sure you run over to the L1 Auto Diagnostics channel, subscribe to Keith, fantastic fella. Don't be blowing his phone up for free advice, so that's all I ask. And just remember, viewers, if I can do it, you can do it. Thanks for watching.